What's up, guys? It is me, Gillyweed SC2, back for another Heroes Hype Amateur Series. This is week 9, and right now I am joined by Inimical GG. What's up, Inimical?
What is up, Gilly? I haven't seen you in like 12 hours.
Right?
I know. So, in case you guys don't know, Gilly and I cast a Chinese league together. It's called Storm League, but it's really early in the morning. But feel free to check out the VODs later on. We'll talk about that, later on in the cast, I'm sure.
Yeah, we definitely will. Guys, we've got an awesome game for you. I think a repeat of last week. We saw Fraud eSports versus Tranquility. And actually, these teams are raring to go. They already did the picks. So we're going to skip that and get right into the game. They're ready to go. So let's hop to it. And let's see. We're going to be on Tomb of the Spider Queen. So the newest of Blizzard's map. For those of you who are not aware, this is a really awesome map. It is very small, and the idea of it is that you want to kill enemy heroes and also the spider minions in order to collect gems, which you'll then turn in to get web weavers that pushed out a lane. What do you think of this map, Inimical?
I kind of like it, honestly.
Oh, yeah?
The patch came out, the patch came out, and I think to play on it a lot because of moving and stuff like that. So I haven't played a lot on it. I like the map. I feel like it's a little weird that there's 3 web weavers because we don't really see 3 objectives at the same time on any maps. Like even Sky Temple, we don't see 3 temples go down until like the very, very late game. So it's an interesting dynamic, which most likely Blizzard play tested a bunch. So obviously they liked having 3 web weavers, and I think it works. It's surprisingly well. I think they make up for it with the lack of vision around the turn-ins and the fact that there is 2 turn-ins. So it's a really good map.
Awesome. Well, I agree with you there. It's really fun to cast as well. So let's go ahead and introduce these teams. I will introduce the team in blue. We've got Tranquility with I Hold Shift dancing away on Jaina, Zergling on Rhaegar, DJ Hellscream on his ETC, Raichu on Thrall, and Synth on Zagara.
And on our red team, actually, who is the red team? Can you tell me again?
Sure, that's Fraud eSports.
Fraud eSports, all right. So we've got Keepers on Diablo, Echo on Sergeant Hammer, Iacona on Uther, Anxiety, Lol on Tassadar, and Bella Morte on the Lost Vikings. So, interesting picks here. I wish we would have actually been able to talk about the draft.
I know. I would have liked to see how that went down, but these teams are always raring to go and get started. Of course, we were a little bit late in setting up those brackets, and so sorry about that, guys, but thanks for hanging in. We're here now. We're ready to watch some awesome heroes. So these teams are setting up generally with what we see, which is one hero each in top and bot, and then 3 heroes mid, just seeing if they can get something done here as they're continuing to lane.
Yeah, and actually Bella Morte deciding to stick all the Vikings in the top lane. Kind of an interesting choice. Generally when you see someone play the Vikings, they're like a previous StarCraft fighter, so they're doing a lot of microing between all 3 lanes with each individual Viking. So just an interesting way, an interesting style. You play the Vikings different ways. It's kind of the magic of the Vikings.
Oh, and actually DJ Hellscream coming up, Raichu and him trying to take out some of the Vikings, but they're going to be able to get away. And doing a really good job of controlling all of those Vikings. This map can be really difficult to deal with in terms of ganks. And so it's really cool to see that they're being able to, so far, kind of mitigate that. I also really like the Echo on the Sergeant Hammer. Sieging up actually stops some of Tranquility from being able to pick up their gems, which has been kind of fun to see too a little bit. I haven't seen Sergeant Hammer too much on this map, but they're kind of making it work there as well.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because, they have ATC and Zagara who are great solo pushers, and then you also have Hammer and Vikings who are also great solo pushers on both teams. So it'll be interesting to see, given that this is kind of a smaller map, to see how much each team kind of imposes their will with their solo push heroes on a specific lane, especially when the Weavers come out.
Man, Anxiety Law got so low there. Synth had him down to the very low dregs of health, but able to stay alive there. Tassadar is a more difficult one to gank, but he definitely was sweating a little bit, I think, as he'll have to go back, and Uther is going to take over bot lane for now.
Yeah, actually, I was just looking at that, and we have seen a lot of Zagara being played in Storm League, actually. So Zagara's definitely really popular in the Asian meta right now. So it'll be interesting if we kind of see her played a lot more. I mean, I understand this is HeroesHype, so it's going to be a little bit different, but
she's seen a lot here too, though, definitely.
Oh, really?
Especially on this map too. She's so good on this map. Vision. Of course, on this map, guys, there's 2 places where you can turn in those gems, and so that makes it for a lot more interesting of arrangements, you might say, in terms of where people can turn in. They're trying to stop Iacona from turning in here, and he is going to get stopped. He's going to have to back away a little bit, but he does stun DJ Hellscream, is taking a lot of damage. That Sergeant Hammer is throwing out shells left and right, but they do stop. I like the idea of sieging up, actually, with Sergeant Hammer on the turn-in spots. It kind of makes for safe turn-ins. But, of course, like I was saying, having Zagara's creep on both turn-ins to be able to watch both is insanely helpful.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it this morning, actually. Like, the Zagara just managed to have both turn-ins just covered in creep, and she can rotate top to bottom so fast.
Thrall actually gets taken out here on top. This push is crazy with the 3 Vikings and Sergeant Hammer. Uther's there as well too, but he's mainly for, you know, staying power. DJ Hellscream's going to come in. They're going to try to get a gank here to make up for the fact that they've given so much experience here to Fraud because of those 2 towers, but not going to be able to catch anybody out here. And through that experience, Red Team Fraud is getting quite a bit ahead. They're about to pick up those level 7 talents.
Actually, great siege there from Echo. Like, just being in range of BGC. So if BGC actually went to commit there, he's going to get a couple pop shots.
Kiefer's getting so low, but he actually gets a really good overpower that keeps him alive. And man, that was clutch.
Yeah, Kiefer's just great tank player. I'm familiar with Kiefer's. He knows what he's doing. Definitely knew that he was able to kind of hang around there as Diablo. Diablo has a ton of HP, great sustain. Plus, if he died, you know, I don't know if he has enough souls at the moment, but he could have been right back up.
Yeah, I think the main concern would have been actually the gems that he has. He has quite a few, 18 on him right now, and that would have been really frustrating, but I think they had a bunch of people around him, so they probably would have been okay. All the Vikings are turning in. They're a little bit behind on the turn-in. Tranquility has more, like I said, that creep able to help them figure out when to turn in, but they've caught DJ Hellscream here. He's going to try to get away. There's a little bit of fight happening here at the bottom turn-in. Fraud's got to be careful, though, because that's 4 people to 3, and they don't want to lose their gems.
Yeah, and it looks like they will be turning in here. I couldn't see the one, but yeah, so it's going to be full turn in here. They're going to have the Weavers, and we're going to see how these guys decide to play this.
Jaina getting taken out by a lost Vikings chase, but now DJ Hellscream, Raichu, and Zergling are on the chase. Bellamore taking to sacrifice 1 Viking, possibly a second, in order to keep the rest alive. Remember that each Viking is only worth a quarter of a regular hero's health, so not terrible, but the blue web weavers are pushing, and this is a chance for Tranquility to maybe pull ahead a little bit in terms of experience.
Yeah, and it looks like they've managed to Fraud, right? Fraud's red?
Yes.
Yes, Fraud looks like they want to go ahead and defend these, and they're not really leaving a lot of options open. Like, they've already had the top lane pushed out, so just a little bit of defense here, and this Weaver's probably not going to do much top. They do have the turrets down, though, so, you know, we're seeing equal levels of experience here, and nothing too major yet. It's really going to come down to what happens when these teams get level 10 at this point.
Yeah, for sure. There's actually so much action happening all around the map. It's a little bit scary to try to obs, but I'm trying to make sure to catch it all for you guys. Both teams at level 9. Fraud will get level 10 a little bit sooner, of course, giving them heroic abilities, unless Tranquility is able to maybe pick up a tower and equalize it a little bit. But that's just really thanks to those Vikings who are constantly laning and in lane. They can pulse them down while still being able to get some team fighting in too. Speaking of team fights, Kiefer's getting very low. He's got all of Tranquility after him, but a great healing ward and heal from Iacona will keep him safe there. And he's actually going to get away, but they still haven't been able to turn in, which is something that Kiefer's really wants to do with all those gems.
Yeah, they do need a turn in here. Fraud will get level 10 though.
Yeah.
And let's see what they take.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so we got Lightning Breath on Diablo, we've got Napalm on Hammer. Still no pick for Uther, so most likely going to decide if Divine Shield. Our next actually going to be Divine Shield. Archon going to be picked up for Tassadar, and then Longbow Raid. So everything pretty standard for the heroics. Build-wise, everything looks pretty standard as well across the board. So interesting to see a Thrall too. We don't see Thrall at all in Storm League. Like I can't remember seeing a match with Thrall actually ever.
Yeah, we've seen him a bit here and there here. Obviously not still a super common pick, but a little bit depending on teams who really like him. And have really executed well, especially with the Sundering, which is that's what he's going to pick up for his heroic ability. They also picked up Water Elemental, Stage Dive, Ancestral Healing, and the Devouring Maw as well for Sagara.
Yeah, we actually saw some amazing maws into mosh pits, and actually ETC going stage dive here, so we're not going to actually see that.
Oh.
ETC might actually go down in the bot lane, and they will go.
Maw going down on Iacona. They are going to surround him. It's going to be quite a bit of damage on him, but he's going to stun Zergling. He's taking quite a bit of damage. He's going to get away too, but both Echo and Iacona are rather low. They are going to try to turn this fight around now. They know that they don't have ETC, and they will. There goes Jaina. Diablo is going to die as well, but the souls will be right back up. There goes Thrall as well. Synth has got to get out of there very, very low on that Zagara, as is Zergling. And with that, finally, Fraud secures the turn-in they so desperately wanted, and they're probably going to get a lot of pushing done here, especially since there's, for a few seconds, still not people up on Tranquility.
Yeah, Tranquility doing the smart thing, just keeping everyone bot lane, because they did have 4 members of Fraud hanging in the bot lane, knowing full well that they were most likely going to push the closest lane, and they're doing it anyway. Keeper's going in there, body block with Diablo. It's just Diablo, it's so hard to get around. Like, once he slams you, Storm Charge and slams you, it's kind of over. It's really hard to get away, especially if you're a squishy hero.
Yeah, he stage dove up to get away and is going to just try to save that top fort. The rest of his team saved the mid fort, but meanwhile, everybody from Fraud eSports is pushing really hard toward that bottom keep. They definitely at least want to open up the possibility of a keep being open in the future, if not starting to put damage on it now. That Web Weaver is still pushing a bit. They're really doing a great job of protecting it, especially with so many bodies, thanks to all of those Vikings.
Yeah, and this is kind of probably the more popular way to play this map is to, rather than try and like divide and conquer with the Web Weavers, just pick one and go with it. And they already had their advantage in the bot lane, having secured a couple of those kills, so why not? And you know, they managed to keep it alive until it got to in front of the keep. So great play from Fraud, and they're really just kind of ahead right now. They don't have the big lead, you know, it's definitely not even far from over right now, but they will take this fort down mid most likely.
Yeah, they've got those.
They can't really mount a defense here.
Exactly. They've got those level 13 talents, which means Tranquility's got to be really careful about trying to engage in. There's a great opportunity for a Maw here, though, and they are going to come in only mawing the Tassadar, and now I hold shift, getting very low, trying to get away. That Jaina is so squishy. DJ Hellscream zoning for her, but probably, actually gets a very clutch heal from Rhaegar, but still taking a lot of damage. That boat, of course, dealing so much with its little meteors, cannons, whatever it is. Meteors, probably not, but yeah, they're gonna push them back once again.
Longbow Raid, ETC just, with a power slide, clutch, gets him away from that. He was totally gonna go down if he didn't have that escape up.
Yeah, very clutch.
Very clutch play there, but Keeper's doing a great job starting to zone out these camps and just kind of body block for his team, and actually gonna trap ETC. So ETC just pushed his luck there and actually did pay for it that time. Yeah, it was an interesting decision to try to go in there. Did die for it thanks to a really good push and then body block from Diablo, and actually still no level 13 talents for poor Tranquility. Fraud doing a great job of just keeping this push going, keeping the positioning and the pressure on. And actually I wanted to note that Distortion Beam was picked up by Tassadar. Not a normal pick here by any means, but his basic attacks are going to be slowing enemies, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, they need something, right? Like, they need... I mean, here in this position, right, they're still not 13. Like, they needed to send someone out to, like, just try and get some farm somewhere. And they didn't. They all just held in defense, and they were really scared of giving up another keep, but they really needed level 13 there to have more of an impact in that defense.
And there it is. They do finally pick up their level 13 talents. Going to be getting sprint on Jaina so that she's going to be have a little more of an escape, and also relentless on ETC as well. So just trying to get a little bit more sustainability, but unfortunately for them, Fraud is already almost 16, and taking out that fort and this tower here is going to catapult them right to those level 16 talents.
I see what you did there. But it was like it didn't really work because they didn't take a keep down. Like,
I know.
If you said catapulted, it would have been perfect.
I know, right? Oh, here he comes. ETC jumps in. They want to make something happen here, but remember, it's a 3-level difference. That Maw, though, that can help. That catches a whole bunch of people. The longboat's over, but Lightning Breath from Kiefer's as soon as he exits out of the Maw. And now they're just trying to catch up DJ Hellscream. He will be healed back up, and Anxiety is getting very low. Is going to Dimensional Shift away. And DJ Hellscream, no heal from that time, does go down. Zergling and Raichu likely to follow. There goes Raichu. Zergling trying to get away. Zagara also getting really low on Synth. Anxiety's actually chasing her, and he's pretty low himself. He's got to be careful. He does take out the Rhaegar, though, and now it's going to be a keep for Catapults.
Yeah, he doesn't even have to be careful, though. He's Tassadar. Tassadar escapes everything. You know, there's no sense in even trying to kill Tassadar. It's so difficult. I mean, he's not like he's got a lot of HP, but like he's so good at getting away. His shield and his his E ability allows him to just go invulnerable and hide, you know, for like 2 seconds or something, which is enough time. In this game, 2 seconds is a lifetime in some situations.
Look at this cool synergy. I talked about Tassadar picking up the Distortion Beam where basic attacks slow enemies. Then also Sergeant Hammer picked up Executioner, where basic attacks deal more damage against slowed, rooted, or stunned targets. So it's just really cool to see, guys, some of the synergies that you can do with your teammates just from the talents alone, not even just with the heroes that you pick up as you are competing.
Oh, that's not right. I'm like trying to figure out if, like, I don't think he does, but ETC doesn't have imposing presence, right? He does not. I don't think he does, right?
I'm not for sure, but that would be at level 16.
Yeah, well, yeah, no. I don't think he has it, but that would be something that would be really helpful here, especially since they're like looking to build into slow. Because you've got the Hammer and the Vikings too, and even Tassadar too, are like mainly auto attack heroes. So yeah, it was great to have, but...
Well, the boss is being taken here by Fraud eSports, but Tranquility are trying to come in. This is a difficult boss to try to engage into. ETC stage dives in, actually power slides everyone away. Might be able to. He's trying so hard to keep it, but he's not quite able to. And with a throw from Kiefer's and a body block, they will go ahead and secure that. Zagara has thrown down a Maw. Not sure who it grabbed. It was Tassadar, but she did go down for it. So now Thrall, Tassadar, and ETC are down. But I understand why Tranquility tried to make that play. There was really its only option. They did pick up Web Weavers, but at this point, everybody from Fraud is still up, and with a boss bearing down straight toward a core. That keep was already down. This will be game for Fraud eSports.
Yeah, it's kind of a mistake that you see out of, you know, you see at this point in Hero League too. Like, people will focus a little bit too much on the objectives. Like, at this point, they're like, how do we get back in the game? Let's turn in. And there's GG, but, you know, what can you do? Like, you can't really turn in. I mean, yeah, it might help you. It might serve to get you some experience, but you got to be out there in lanes and, like, just stay away from the other team because they're just going to shred you, which is what we saw when they actually did take that boss fight.
Right. I'm just now seeing chat for the first time, guys. Sorry, I was really intent on watching that game and making sure I observed all the action, but I did turn up Inimical's mic, so hopefully in 90 seconds, or well, by the time you hear this, it'll be fine, but 90 seconds from this point, you should be able to hear a little bit better. Just looking at some of the stats here for the first game, but yeah, that was a pretty big stomp in favor of Fraud eSports, and not on the side that had the Zagara, which is really interesting. A lot of times what we've seen is the side with the Zagara on that map is the side that wins. Yeah,
there just wasn't the ability for them to just spread the creep. Like, Hammer sieging up there is a great counter. You know, you prevent Zagara from at least putting creep on one of the turn-ins, and you know, in a sense, freeing up the other one as well, because you never really know where that hammer is going to be. And if you just start putting tumors down, someone can just walk right in there and stop you. Specifically if it's a hammer, so just completely zone you out of the area.
Yeah, it was really cool for me to see the Sergeant Hammer actually on this map, because I think the past couple of times we've seen her picked for this map, it hasn't gone in that team's favor, and I think that it really came down to the places where Echo was sieging up, really favoring sieging around those turn-in points, so that it kind of was a counter, like you were saying, to that, the Zagara creep, which is typically makes teams have so many problems with turning in, because the team can always see where you're trying to turn in and stop it. And so I thought that that was really cool to see how Echo sieged up to sort of be the counter to that, and I think it was really effective.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I'm just looking at the stats right now, like 13 kills to 1. Like, just you can tell by that score that, I mean, kills don't really matter in this game, but when you have that much of a kill lead, like the other team is just not taking team fights at all, you know, like properly. They're getting ganked as well, you know, out in the open, which we didn't see too much of that in this game. But there was a little. There were a few situations where someone got really low and had to go back, and that in and of itself is also detrimental to when you're trying to lane and get experience, especially if the other team that's actually has the advantage is just all over laning, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, good job to Fraud Esports. They will be moving on to the next round of the competition, and we will be right back with the next round in just a few minutes. See you soon.